Hi, I'm Bobni. I'm part of the communications department.
Hi, my name's Daryl. I work in the defense division.
Hi, I'm Cassidy. This summer I did sheet metal.
YEP stands for Youth Employment Project, and it's a part-time paid internship at Textron Aviation. I heard about this YEP program through my high school, and I decided to apply.
Just like my family, I know other people that have generations of family that have worked in aircraft, and there's nothing like it.
I was a YEP intern, now I work full-time at Textron Aviation. I really almost knew nothing about aviation before I did an internship. Now I know a whole lot about aviation.
Textron is really strong about helping out the community, and I think it's good for us just not being in the workspace, also being able to go out and help out.
This was the first year that they let us interns in sheet metal make something in order for us to take home. And what better than to make a toolbox? It's handmade, it's nice, but it's mine because I made it, and that's the best part.
It's a really great experience, and it opened my eyes to what my future could look like. It was such a good opportunity, and pretty much every high schooler should try and experience it at least 1 year of their high school experience.
I think it was really nice to get a start on my career, and I think that overall Textron has been a great opportunity for me and a great process to go through.
I want to be able to do something in the business area or communications area, so it kind of gave me the idea that I know I want to keep pursuing in this path.
It was an amazing experience. The opportunity was an incredible one. So I say, go for it.
You should do it. It's a good experience. You're never gonna regret it.
The YEP summer internship at Textron Aviation gave me a perspective on what the real world is, and it opened my eyes to that future.
The thing that I learned that was probably the most important thing, and the reason why I've been with Textron for 4 years now, is that Textron believes in me. And they don't just believe in me, they believe in all of their interns. You could work at a lot of places, but you are not ever going to get the level of respect that you receive right here at Textron Aviation.
Great show, and I say that every time I do a show. This one, so in the past we've talked about, and a couple of shows ago, we talked about scholarship possibilities and aviation summer camp opportunities. Today, we're going to talk about the 3 of the many internship programs that are available, and the introduction to what I call Introduction to Aviation Career Initiatives from 3 great entities. Textron Aviation, known for its Cessna and Beechcraft brands, the Federal Aviation Administration, better known as the FAA, that engages, I like to say, engages in all things flying, and Garmin International, known for its advanced technology on things that fly, float, etc. So students, parents, teachers, counselors, strap in, get ready to copy all the details of the very latest. My guests include for this show, Michele Gifford, the Director of Workforce Planning and Talent Acquisition at Textron Aviation, Raina Price, the Manager of Corporate Engagement of the Corporate Engagement Branch for Human Capital Programs at the Federal Aviation Administration, and along with her is Ben Ruiz. He's the Human Resource Specialist at FAA's Office of Human Resource Management. And then we have Jessica Zlab, the Manager of University Recruitment for Garmin International. I'm smiling because I think I kind of did her name in a little bit. Sorry about that, Jessica. But I'd like to welcome everybody to the show, and it's really great to have you guys on board today to talk about some of the things that you have going on with each of your companies. So I'm going to start with Textron Aviation and get a little bit more insight from Michele about what Textron offers in the world of internships. Michele, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's really great to have you. Tell us a little bit, first of all, about you and what you do for Textron.
So here at Textron Aviation, I currently lead the talent acquisition, workforce planning, and programs teams. So that is really all of our analytics and then workforce programs that build into our talent pipelines so that we can hire great talent all across the country.
Great. And tell us a little bit more about how you guys provide opportunities for young people to get involved with Textron.
Yeah, so you started the show this morning with our video from our youth employment project. That really, we're entering our 6th year for that project. It's a summer program. It's 6 weeks part-time paid internship opportunity. We host 150 high school students here in Wichita, ages 16 to 19. And we place them all across the business. So you saw some folks in communications, you saw shop floor, you also saw individuals learning sheet metal. And it really is about that experience and exposure. I like to tell them maybe figure out what you don't want to do. That's a good place to experiment and experience and maybe learn what something is or isn't like in the real world. So we're excited about that program. We've kicked off our applications for that this year. We do face-to-face interviews with them. Oftentimes it's their first job. And so helping them navigate the employment process as well as the interview process and then onboarding them with us for those 6 weeks. Our goal of that program is to convert them either into full-time employees upon graduation or maybe into our college internship program. We do have a pretty robust college internship program. We host about 350 university students in the summer. It's for 8 to 10 weeks, full-time paid, again, all across the business. So again, high school into college or that full-time transition is our goal.
So you were talking about this being their first experience and you guys try to guide them. What are some of the things that you do to make them more comfortable about the process and to give them some guidance on, for a lot of them, what may be very new?
Yeah, so the first thing we do that I think is really important is we invite their parent or guardian to orientation with them. So we host that in the evening, the week before they start. That allows that parent or guardian to interact with their supervisor. We are a bit of a small city here with more than 9,000 employees in Wichita. And so the ability for that parent or guardian to interact with that supervisor, we think is really important, and to learn more about our company at that time as well. Help them navigate the paperwork process, the onboarding process. And then while they're here, we do not only activities with them, but things like community engagement. So being a part of the communities where our employees live and work is very important to our business. And we start that with that very first internship opportunity. We also encourage them to network and see other parts of the business while they're here, again, as part of that career exploration.
Oh, that's really great. The opportunity to expose them to other parts of Textron and everything. How many of the students, or what percentage of them are actually coming for trying to jumpstart their aviation career versus maybe just curious or whatever about Textron? A lot of people don't necessarily know Textron Aviation, so I guess I'm asking you to help us know a little bit more about it.
Sure. So Textron Aviation, so we're the leading manufacturer of general aviation aircraft. So not only the business jets, but turboprop and high performance pistons, military trainers, special missions and defense products. We have customers in more than 170 countries. So we have a very trusted global service network to make sure to support them. But it's really to inspire the journey of flight. So while those students are here, we work with them for, again, that experience and exposure. Many people think that maybe the only opportunity is in the factory. And in fact, we show them that we have opportunities really from accountants to welders and everything in between, and try to make sure that they see or experience that while they're here if they choose to. In terms of returning to us, it's probably about 25% come back either for another high school internship or transition into a full-time role or college experience. Again, this is the 6th year of the program, so we're starting to see some of those students who maybe started with us as a high school intern and are now converting to some full-time entry-level positions upon their college graduation. So really starting to see maybe the fruits of that investment in them during their high school career.
Sure, getting them started early. So, does it matter what year they are in high school, or can it be a freshman or all the way up to a senior? How does that work?
Yeah, so we do ages 16 to 19. So oftentimes they have maybe completed their sophomore year or headed into that year of school. And then all the way through, they can graduate in May and still do that high school internship opportunity with us before they transition into their chosen career path. We also have started offering internships for community college and technical school students because we know that many students transition into that career path as well. So really trying to open the door for them to see the opportunities and possibilities beyond high school, whether that's full-time, 2-year, technical school, or university.
Well, you
Whatever
bring
they're
up a great point, because not everybody is going to go to a 4-year school.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that have skill sets that are to go to a 2-year program or a technical school actually makes sense for a lot of what the needs are for a manufacturer like Textron. The other thing that you guys noticed that you have, and maybe you can expand on it a bit, is you have a leadership development program. You touched on it a bit, but I was wondering if you could
Sure.
tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so our leadership development program actually spans across all of the Textron business units. So it's a program hosted by our parent company, Textron, and we offer opportunities for students across the various professional disciplines. So whether that's in finance or human resources, engineering disciplines, manufacturing or operations. And they have the opportunity to visit 2 business units. They do 2 12-month rotations. And then at the end of that, then they are placed full-time in one of our business units as well. So really gives them an opportunity to expand their horizon beyond just Textron Aviation and see maybe what's out there for them at another business unit or another location with Textron businesses all around the US.
Yeah. So kids are in high school a lot, obviously, in your region. If they're outside of your region, outside of Kansas or outside of the Wichita area, are they still eligible to apply for the program?
Yeah, so this program is Wichita based.
It
So
is.
we have
Okay.
had students though who may have family members in Wichita, and so they may come spend 6 weeks here in the city and work.
So there
with
is
us.
that option if they have, for example, a family in
Sure.
the area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Very good. Going back to the transition to college. So you, in terms of advising them, do you talk to them as while they're an intern, or do you provide advice to them with regard to suggestions for what they may study in college and things like that? I mean, granted, they may be still a sophomore, junior, or senior in high school, but how does that work?
Yeah, so our goal is really experience and exposure. So giving them the hands-on opportunity, the opportunity to shadow maybe someone in one of those work areas that they may have an interest in. And even just offering them multiple tours while they're here so they can see the breadth of our career opportunities is really how we try to relay that information or opportunity to them. Yeah.
What's it like when these kids come for the first time to Textron? I mean, I've seen it firsthand. As a matter of fact, I was going to mention that the one story I always like to tell is I met one of your staff. I won't mention the name, but she studied something like environmental whatever in school. She ended up interning with you guys and getting a job with you. And now she's involved with the sustainability efforts that Textron is doing. And I like to use that example because I don't think when she studied environmental, I don't think she thought she'd be doing it in the aviation world, I guess is my point.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's exciting when the high school students come, when the college interns come. It really just brings a new life and energy to the business. They challenge us. They make us think differently. They ask us why or why not, and really do help us, I think, become a better company by virtue of their questions and their ideas. We value everyone's perspective and their differences. And so really trying to make sure that we're able to capture their hearts and minds and their thoughts while they're here to inspire them into aviation where maybe they didn't see a path before.
Yeah. What's your window of applying?
Yeah, so for our high school internship program, it's actually open right now through March 17th. You can find all of our jobs at www.txtav.com. And if you do a /K12, that's where you'll find more about our high school program. And we take those applications through March 17th. We do in-person interviews the end of March, and then the program is 6 weeks starting the 1st of June, actually June 5th. And then our college interns, that application window is nearing closure. February 23rd is our final date there as we start to onboard those students for a summer experience starting the end of May.
Gotcha. So tell us the website again.
It's www.txtav.com. And for the high school program specifically, then if you do /K12, you'll find more information about that program.
And do you have any kind of, frequently asked questions area that if they have some questions as they're looking into this, or are all those questions answered on the site you just gave?
We tried to answer most of the questions there, but if anyone has any additional questions, they're free to reach out to me directly, or you can always email careers@txtav.com. Again, careers@txtav.com, and the team will be happy to answer your questions.
Sounds good. Okay, Michele. Well, thank you very much for telling us about that, and we'll come back with you in a bit. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the Federal Aviation Administration, better known as the FAA.
Here at the FAA, we have a huge variety of incredible careers available. The Minority Serving Institution Internship Program allows students to learn and grow within this field.
I found a lot of value in the internship program.
If I hadn't been given the opportunity to have that hands-on experience during my internship, right now I wouldn't have been equipped to do what I'm doing on a daily basis.
It was kind of a challenge, but it was something new. I was open to it. They prepared me for the real world work experience.
I was able to make a number of connections, network with a number of people, learn different technology available at the time, and just to see different perspective coming out from a college degree program.
So I urge students who may be interested in careers in aviation, take a look at what an MSI internship can offer.
Say hello to Raina and Ben again. Welcome you guys to All Things Aviation and Aerospace. Raina, we'll get started with you and tell us a little bit about what the FAA is up to and what you guys are looking for as far as internships and some of your other initiatives.
Thank you, Vince. And on behalf of the FAA, I just want to show appreciation for having us join and be able to tell you a little bit about the internship. So I do want to share a little bit about the FAA. We are an agency that reports up through the Department of Transportation, and then the Department of Transportation is an executive branch that rolls up to the White House. So we all ultimately report to President Joe Biden. So the FAA has several opportunities for internships, and not only are they posted year round, but I'm going to share today a little bit about two of the opportunities. The FAA is located nationwide, including the US territories, and we even have some offices that are global. We've got over 44,000 employees. And I'd like to share, a little bit about the benefits of working for the federal government, because a lot of people say, well, why would I want to do that? What's cool about the FAA is that not only is it a great place to work, and we have a very diverse workforce, but there are over 200 occupations at our agency, and you don't need a degree necessarily to work in our agency. And our internships, there's so many different opportunities. One of the programs that I'm going to talk to you about today, the Minority Serving Institutions program, we welcome all majors. And we have a second opportunity that's more technical in nature, and I'll be able to share a little bit about that. But some of the benefits of working for the federal government, the first place is, we really have job stability, and there's great benefits, pay and leave flexibilities, where you'll gain valuable work experience. And in internships in particular, there's always robust training and development, along with networking, training sessions, executive series, and a lot of networking at all levels. Interns get to work together within their peers, and then of course their networking opportunities with leaders within our agency.
Okay, sorry about that. Hang on a second.
You gonna show our video?
I was setting it up, and you caught me. So let's talk a little bit about your for the high school students. Tell us about that program a bit.
So for high school students, those opportunities are typically they're joining in a volunteer role that is unpaid. I really want to focus on our intern program that's for college students and recent grads, if we can today, because those positions are currently live and posted on our website. But there are opportunities for high school students who can join in a volunteer capacity. Typically, they're joining in a volunteer role that is unpaid. I really want to focus on our intern program that's for college students and recent grads, if we can today, because those positions. So I'll go ahead and start talking about the Gateways program. The great thing about the Gateways program It's known in the federal space as pathways, but here at the FAA, we call it gateways. And it's creating a pipeline really for entry level talent, and it's a succession planning tool. Pathways that was created in 2010 under the former Hiring Reform Initiative, which was signed by former President Barack Obama. Again, we call it gateways at the FAA, and there are three components to gateways. One is the internship program, which is a paid program for students currently enrolled in a degree-seeking program. Then we have the recent graduate program. Now that program is really it's a 2-year career development program for recent grads who completed a degree or certificate within the last 2 years. And then the premier program, which is a 2-year leadership training program. It's called the Presidential Management Fellows Program. All of those are under our Gateways program.
Got you. Why don't we talk to Ben a little bit? Ben, tell us a little bit about you. You're recently out of college. You went into a program there, an internship program, if I'm not mistaken, with the FAA, and now you're working for the FAA, and this has all happened in the last few years.
Yeah, so I recently graduated from Pennsylvania State University back in 2021, and to be honest with you, I didn't know what I was going to do afterwards. I knew I was an HR major back then, and I just wanted to get some type of experience, get my foot in the door somewhere, and that's where the FAA came in. And also, to be honest with you, I didn't even know what FAA stood for when I first heard about it. A family friend talked about it to me and said they have great internship programs and, a great start to your career. So I thought I'd give it a chance. And, I've loved the agency ever since. They started me out and they put me somewhere to really build my strengths. Just like what Raina said before, they accommodate to what your major is. It's open to all majors. So for me being an HR major, they put me within their HR department, and I helped a lot with their day-to-day tasks, and along with heading a lot of career fairs and information sessions that I did during my time there. And then we also worked on a lot of important projects that actually the FAA works on, still uses today. And so it's useful for any major, anybody can get in. And it was a great experience. Once the internship was over, they kept my resume and tried to find a spot for me. So now I work in their HR department for staffing. I'm an HR specialist, and I've been here for about a year, and I can say I really love what I do.
What is an HR specialist, Ben?
Well, an HR specialist can be classified as many things, but for me, at least, I work in the staffing section. So there, I send out offers. I process people into the system. I do a lot of behind the scene work, but I definitely love it, and I've continued to grow throughout my time. Everybody here seems very helpful and wanting to reach out to me if I ever need help. So I've had a great experience.
Yeah, one of the great things about internship programs in general is the exposure that it gives you to an area or to a company or an organization, in the FAA's case, that allows you to really learn a lot about that organization and what the opportunities are. When you were an intern, and I'm not sure if you said how long you were doing that, give us an example of what you were doing. By the way, I think it's really great. One of the things that's key is you're not alone. There are many college students that are trying to figure out what they want to do while they're in school, and even after they graduate, wondering what direction, even if they kind of know the field. In your case, you weren't even familiar with the FAA, but you became familiar, and one thing happened after another. So tell us what it was like once you entered the internship program, and what you did.
I have a great point for that, because we have our director, David Mims. He had an introductory meeting with all the interns before we even started. And he wanted to point out that this was an employer's choice agency. And, I thought that was a very bold take for an agency I didn't even hear about yet. But, I wanted them to prove it to me. And I can say, every day that I showed up to work, they definitely did. They showed how much they cared about us as employees, how much they want this agency to grow and to reinvent itself every day. So as going into this opportunity, I've just learned that, how much I found a love for government work, and I would definitely recommend this for anybody.
Yeah, that's an employee's choice. Kind of like that that phrase. That's really great. Raina, going back to you and your responsibilities, tell us a little bit more about what you do and where that all comes from. And then I have a couple of questions for you specific to a couple of your other initiatives.
Sure, thank you. So I have about 20 years in the talent acquisition space. I'm 15 in the federal space. And so my role here at the FAA is our branch really focuses on three key areas. One is student programs and internships. And the other is campus outreach. Really everything that we do, we don't believe that diversity is a separate thing. Diversity is really woven into everything that we do here at the agency. So we're partnering with our internal stakeholders to understand their hiring needs. And then at the end of the day, it's really about socializing the FAA's opportunities, whether at colleges or industry associations, and creating those diverse talent pipelines for the positions that the FAA has.
Yeah, speaking of diversity, one of the initiatives that you just launched a week or two ago is the HBCU Aviation Day, the FAA HBCU Aviation Day, and that's a brand new initiative. Tell us a little bit about that.
So we're super excited about the agency's HBCU initiative. So there are 10 schools that are formally partnering with the agency. And so a big piece of what we're doing is creating that awareness, that employer brand awareness at these schools. They're starting to look at grants, and it's really about partnering with schools and their leadership, right? So the career centers, their engineering or aviation or IT directors, to really begin to demonstrate that students can and should be looking at the FAA and for jobs in aviation. And again, very similar to I think what Michele said is that a lot of people don't think, oh, I can join the FAA if I don't have a background in aviation or aerospace. And so that's a big piece of our employer branding awareness is the FAA. You can have any background and be welcome here. And Ben and I are certainly good examples of that. I come from a poli-sci background and then moved into talent acquisition. So it's really about partnering with the 10 HBCUs.
Yeah, let's get into some specifics and tell us a little bit about application process for each of the areas that you've been talking about.
Sure. So the Minority Serving Institutions program, that's the internship program that Ben was a part of. The posting, the application period is live right now. It's going to close on February 17th. And so for our jobs, it's www.faa.gov/jobs. And so you can navigate down to students and internships, and you'll see the MSI link as well. So the MSI program is really about celebrating the diversity and talent of students attending, colleges nationwide. And so it's about attracting students to the world of aviation. So this program starts June 5th. Again, the application is live until February 17th. And this program is 11 weeks with the ability to return for 4 weeks in the winter and then about a week in the spring. So it's 11 weeks. And we're looking to bring students in for what we're calling a DC capstone week. What's great about the Gateways program is that interns can return as long as they're continuing to be eligible. And then there's conversion authority, which means once they finish the program, as long as they have met all program requirements, they're eligible for permanent outplace. So again, the link is up on our website, but I'd like to invite everyone. We have 2 live info sessions. One is today at 5 p.m. The next one is next Thursday, where people can really meet our program team, learn more about the MSI program. We were really excited to have 4 MSI interns who are now FAA employees join our live session. Ben was one of them, and we had a great turnout on Tuesday. And we noticed that one of the most popular kind of discussions was really meeting the 4 former interns who are now FAA employees, and they had a chance to really engage with them and learn about their internship experience and what it's been like for them to transition over to permanent employment. And I'll drop the link to the live sessions in the chat.
Okay, you'll put those in the chat. Great. They'll be great to share with everybody. So anything else that you'd like to add at this point about what you guys are doing there at the FAA?
Sure. So there is one other opportunity that is currently up as well.
How did I know that?
Right? Of course. It's called the Student Trainee Airway Transportation System Specialist, and it is a Gateways program as well. We will get the link to that opportunity in the chat as well. But this is more a technical trainee program. So ideal students would be ones who are really interested in technical work and who are currently enrolled in school, either doing a bachelor's and associates, a vocational or technical type degree. They're hiring over 60 locations nationwide. That vacancy is open until February 27th. And I forgot to say that the MSI program is nationwide, including U.S. territories. Some of the MSI positions are going to be virtual, some will be in person. So we're offering both.
Wonderful. Well, this has been great to share this about all the insight with what the FAA offers, and there's a lot of opportunity there. So we will touch base on a little bit more of that after this next segment.
When people think of Garmin, they think of that little thing that goes in your car and tells you how to get where you're going. The fact is, before we ever went down that road, we made GPS for people out on the water, helping those who like to fish or just spend time on their boats. Back then, we were up in the air, above the clouds, helping pilots navigate the sky. Now we're in the mountains, helping hikers find their way to majestic views. We're also on runners' wrists, swimmers too. We're even on handlebars, helping people get in shape, stay in shape, or keep their edge. Sure, we're still in cars, but now we make products for everywhere that people live, work, and play.
Garmin International. Everybody, I think, has some familiarity with Garmin one way or another, especially those in aviation. But I think just in general, because Garmin makes some pretty cool stuff for airplanes and for boats, and the beat goes on. Without further ado, Jessica, how are you?
Good. Thanks so much for having me, Vince.
It's a pleasure to have you. How about telling us a little bit about you and your involvement with Garmin and what you do, and then we'll get into some specifics about your program.
Sure. So I am the manager over the university recruitment team here. I am at our headquarters location in Olathe, Kansas, so the Kansas City area. And my team handles all of our entry-level recruitment. So anything coming right out of school for any of our engineering opportunities, technical paths, IT, and of course, a lot of that is aviation. We also handle multiple facets of our intern program nationwide. We have a lot of different pieces of our intern program. So my team handles all of that throughout the year. We travel to schools across the country, recruiting top talent to Garmin for all of those different programs, as well as have some K through 12 STEM outreach initiatives that are really key to what we're doing and trying to foster just that next generation of students to get passionate about aviation and technical opportunities and pursue those paths too.
Sure. Let's get specific with starting with high school, your high school programs.
Sure. So our high school program is probably the smallest of all of the internship programs that we have. The majority of ours are college internships of some type, whether it be associates or bachelor's or even past that. But we do have a handful of high school interns that will join us usually during the spring semester. Those are primarily at our headquarters location in the Kansas City area, that we have had some at other locations or offices across the country too. And really it's just partnering with some of the high schools that are near here to get those students engaged in some of our primarily engineering roles. But we do have some opportunities outside of that, kind of on the manufacturing side and in our warehouse as well.
Yeah. Would you do the same thing if somebody has a high school student, but they don't live in the area, but the family does, and the student could come and be that? Would they be able to apply for that program, or is it strictly for the local area?
Yeah, it's primarily been local, but I don't think we would turn somebody away if they had that situation for sure. So we do, for our college internships, we do relocate folks from all over the country to intern with us. So that would definitely not be out of our norm.
Sure. Can you tell us a little bit more specifics about the college internship program?
Absolutely. So our internship, like I said, is kind of multifaceted. We have a few different programs for college students. The most significant of those, though, is our summer internship program, which typically is over that May through August timeframe. We require a 12-week internship. And that program, typically we host 300 to 350 interns for that time period. And it spans across multiple different business segments. As you mentioned, Garmin's in more than just aviation, but actually over half of our interns are within the aviation division. So that's a huge focus area for us within our internship opportunities. And about 60 to 70% of those tend to be at our headquarters, but we do have offices that focus on aviation in the Phoenix area, Twin Cities, Salem, Oregon, and Middlebury, Connecticut too. So we're recruiting aviation interns for those groups as well, and those locations. In addition to the summer program, though, we also have semester-long co-op opportunities for both spring and summer. So I know that some universities require co-ops or maybe provide students with credit for those, or if you just have the flexibility to be able to take a semester off and come work for us full-time, those are all aviation-specific co-op opportunities that we offer. And then we are also very fortunate to have some locations of ours that are near college campuses across the country. And so when we have those opportunities, we do provide part-time internships for students that are going to school there too, so that they can put in some time with us during the school year, 10, 15 hours, whatever they can provide to us around their class schedule. We're really flexible, and it gives them the opportunity to make some money and gain some experience even while they're going to school. And then the kind of last piece of the college internship programs that we have, we do all of our manufacturing here for aviation groups here at the Olathe headquarters location, as well as Salem, Oregon. We are vertically integrated, so that also provides a lot of different types of opportunities. And so if a student is not on that four-year degree path and they are pursuing maybe certifications instead or an associate's degree, we have opportunities for them as well within engineering technician opportunities, electronics technicians, aviation installation and maintenance. So we have some apprenticeship programs that are very similar to our internships, where we partner with some of the local colleges here to allow those students, while going through their maybe two-year program, to work with us and then eventually transition into a full-time role in some of those trade type areas as soon as they've completed those certifications or degrees as well. So lots of different types of internships within our college program.
Yeah, and I take it that those are that program is also nationwide in terms of availability.
So for those apprenticeship programs, those are pretty local to the Olathe area, just because a lot of the aviation manufacturing is done here. And then we have our flight operations group and our cross certification group here too that benefit from those programs as well.
Gotcha. So and so it's tied into like your two-year colleges and two-year technical schools?
Yes.
Gotcha. Something I noticed that these have what you call seasonal opportunities. How does that fit in?
Yeah, so those are a little different, but we do target college students and sometimes high school students for those as well. We do have our distribution center here, and I know that they have a lot of opportunities for students to come and work in seasonal roles within our warehouse, within our product support teams too, and sometimes within our manufacturing groups as well. So there's definitely opportunities there as well that are a little bit less restrictive in terms of the requirements. You don't necessarily have to be pursuing a four-year degree for one of those opportunities, as long as you meet the requirements and have a passion for what you're doing. And we love to have students join in those areas as well.
Sure. So what are your deadlines and requirements for applying to these programs?
Yeah, so we don't necessarily have specific deadlines, but we do have certain times of the year that we tend to be doing the most hiring. For our summer program, which again is our most robust one, we tend to do the majority of that hiring during the fall semester. So I mentioned my team goes out and we're attending career fairs across the country trying to find great talent. And then actually right now the whole team is out doing the same thing at career fairs across the nation, bringing that talent into different locations. And so it's very heavy in the fall, and then in the spring spring as well during career fair season, but we do tend to hire most of our summer interns by around this time of the year or over the next month. So that is, the clock is ticking a bit for those applications, but we do have those other programs, like I said. So for some of these other groups, our high school interns tend to be spring semester internships. So we're looking for those usually in late fall. When we are looking for co-ops, it's typically just the semester prior to those co-ops starting that we're opening those applications up. So it kind of just depends on when, but we don't necessarily have specific deadlines. We keep recruiting until we find all the best talent.
Sounds good. You know, I just got a question, and I think it's directed to you, but it gives me the perfect segue to open it up to everyone, because I think it may apply to everyone. It's an interesting question. The question I'm being asked is, if you're homeschooled, how does that work? Is it still, are they still eligible, I guess I should say, if it's a student that's in a homeschool situation? And since I'm with you, Jessica, I'll start with you, and then we'll go around the room and see what everybody has to say.
Yeah, absolutely. From our perspective, we do have partnerships with certain like high schools, for instance, but that doesn't mean that that our internships are solely, restricted to just those schools. We are always looking for just the best and the brightest. So wherever that happens to come from, that's what we'd love to bring in.
Sure. Same question for you, Michele.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, last summer we had 156 students represented, more than 40 high schools, and that does include homeschools. So absolutely, our summer high school program welcomes those students as well.
Excellent. Raina?
Sure. So for our Gateways program, those programs are designed to be college students who are currently enrolled in a program, or that are enrolled in a vocational or a trade school. For the high school volunteer program, they would typically look at, for homeschooling, what schools are they partnering with to determine eligibility.
Gotcha. So this is the part where we kind of do an overall overview of anything and touch back on anything that you guys wanted to share that maybe you didn't get to during your segment, but also to give advice from your perspectives and what you've seen with the students that have come through both at the high school and college level, that you would just suggest for them to help them, better move forward with these opportunities that you're presenting. And I'll open it to the room.
I'd like to echo something that I think Raina touched on with the FAA, and that I think, Garmin would be similar in that, obviously it makes you stand out for these types of internships if you have a passion for aviation, or you are a pilot, or maybe you're, involved in some of these side projects or things that are related to some of the roles or the aviation industry, or have experience with, say, Garmin avionics. But the majority of those that come in and work in our aviation internships are actually not of that background. It's great when they are, because it gives them a little bit of a leg up when getting started. But we tend to see that most of those that come in and work in these aviation internships, majority of which are engineering type roles, software, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, industrial, some of those. They don't have exposure to aviation prior, but they get bit by that aviation bug as soon as they get here, and then can benefit from the huge community of pilots and aviation enthusiasts that we have here, to where once they finish their internship, they definitely have flipped a switch and are all about aviation. But it's not necessarily a requirement or something that, that you have to have background in before coming in. We'd love to introduce people to the industry while they're here and get them passionate about it, as they're getting experience in it.
Sure. Raina?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd like to add to that. The thing that I really talk to students about is determining, how does your passion and what you want to do, how does that align with your degree? And then find an internship, because internships are really the best way for you to really kind of test out, is the work that I'm doing at the internship, is that really, giving me the career path or insight into the career path that I think that I want to go to. So we often talk about sometimes internships, not only does it allow students to gain, real work experience in their field, but sometimes you'll have students that'll say, I did this great, internship. I showed up every day. I did all of my work, but you know what? I don't know that I want to do this. I think I'm going to switch my degree. So what we say is, the value of internships, that it really allows students to be exposed to the work and the career path that they believe that they ultimately, want to be on. So my plug is just, for students to really look at finding an internship. There are so many out there. Of course, we'd love for you to look at better opportunities like the FAA, but it's really about, spending your summer in a value added way, where you're adding not only to your resume, but you're absorbed in the work that will ultimately align to where you want to go. And then, of course, showing up and being the best person that you can be while you're on the job.
Absolutely. Michele?
Yeah, I would echo all of those comments as well. One program I didn't talk about that I think has really been a home run for us is an externship program. So we actually host career and college counselors and high school teachers. And we've hosted elementary and middle school teachers as well, but we host them for an experience in the summer, because we know that they're the influencers for those students. And so really being able to show them the breadth of career opportunities, so that when they're sitting across from those students, we're guiding them through what's next for them, regardless of whether it's straight into the workforce, technical, community, or four-year university. Being able to let those influencers have that experience and exposure to be able to have those rich, meaningful conversations, to maybe point them to the aviation industry where maybe they hadn't thought about that before. So echoing the comments of the others around the value of the programs, but we have really found, we're starting our third year in that program, and we have really found that to be valuable as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a pretty neat initiative. I was going to go to Ben, because Ben, you're just a few years past being a student, et cetera, and so forth, and you've done the internship, and you're now working full time at the FAA, but at a relatively young age. So, what advice do you have for our viewers and listeners out there from your perspective?
Yeah, I'd honestly like to just echo all these opportunities, because they are very important for your career, for the start of your career. I know a lot of people my age worry about their first position, because a lot of agencies, a lot of companies, might turn you down because you don't have the experience. But this is the perfect stepping stone to get into your career. I worried about it myself, but now, now that I have my internship opportunity, I don't worry at all. And, I feel very secure right now. So please, take advantage of this, while you can, because I got lucky, and I think everybody else can get lucky too, if they just, try to get in.
From what I hear from Raina, it's more than luck. You've done your due diligence in all aspects of your process there, and is well deserved in terms of where you are and where you're going. So hats off to you in reference to that. So let's wrap the show with an opportunity for each of you to kind of brag about your company or organization for a minute, just in general. And I'll start with you, Michele, and go ahead, brag about Textron and Cessna, Beechcraft, et cetera, in terms of what you get. You did touch on something earlier that kind of went through pretty quickly, but I have toured the facilities there at Textron, and the manufacturing process is absolutely amazing in terms of the that of aircraft that you guys build and all of the things that go into that. I'm probably stealing your thunder here and taking all your stuff, but that go into that, including, making the aircraft, building the aircraft and the interior, and then the avionics that has to be put in, and all of those different elements of it and things like that. Just tell us a little bit about Textron.
Yeah, so it really is, the ability to design, build, fly, sell, and service a product. So what I think is really unique about us is, you can have an idea, and that idea can come to life, and you can see that through the design process, through the build process, ultimately to that very satisfied end customer. So our employees have a lot of pride in the work that they do. And again, it's really about inspiring the journey of flight, whatever that looks like for that individual. So whether it's the small child looking up and saying, wow, look at that airplane, all the way to the individual that uses that as a business tool, really being able to see the breadth of the process, the opportunities, and the products that we provide to our customers to allow us to continue to be legendary. So again, thanks for the opportunity today.
Yeah, absolutely. And, For those of you old enough to know what it is, I was the Radio Shack kid. So I loved electronics, besides being passionate about being a pilot. So I used that to segue to Jessica and say, hey, if you're into electronics, I mean, Garmin is all electronics, everything. And some of the coolest stuff, I do have to throw one little plug in with the new Autoland system that comes out of Garmin that is now in several small aircraft, general aviation aircraft, meaning a 4-seater, et cetera. And I just think it's very cool that if the pilot is incapacitated, that the plane takes over, literally, finds an airport, takes the plane on a path to that airport and lands, hands off completely. I haven't had that opportunity yet to see how that system works firsthand. But one of the who used to be the head editor at AOPA for AOPA magazine, Tom Haynes, and Tom had a chance to do that. And he said he had to sit on his hands because he kept wanting to fly the plane, and the plane was handling things really well. And on top of everything else, kind of an AI thing, it was talking to the people, the rest of the people in the plane, the passengers. So if there's a couple passengers in the back, pilot gets incapacitated, it starts talking to the passengers while it's also talking to air traffic control and saying, you know, this is an emergency, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know, this is like the Jetsons type of stuff or something. But anyhow, Jessica, tell us a little bit about Garmin.
Yeah, so honestly, that was going to be, something I mentioned as far as
stole your thunder
the company.
too.
It's, not necessarily just Autoland, but to me, it's just the innovation, and that's what makes it exciting to work here. And I think really exciting for our interns too, because they get to be so much a part of that. I mean, they're making real contributions on our products and actually helping us to get products to market, just like our full-time associates are. And so that to me has always been what's exciting about working here, is the innovation and the fact that nobody ever feels like we can sit back and just settle in like we've got it. It's never that mentality. It's always just what's next, what are we going to do to improve, and how are we going to make things better for our customers, and it's just that constant looking forward that makes it so exciting to work here. And then just being around so many amazing people. We have a very interesting, unique culture here. It's a kind of maintained that startup vibe that we had over 30 years ago, but we've, since added about 20,000 employees, and it doesn't feel that way. It just still feels like this small, tight-knit community or family. And that's what I've always loved about it as well. Just the really amazing products and the family and the community that we get to work in here.
Sure.
But exciting to get to actually be a part of something where we could be, with Autoland, for instance, saving lives. And that's, I know, extremely rewarding for our teams that worked on that.
Yeah, you also were going to tell a little bit about, and I apologize to you guys for my video shortcoming for you, but you had a video about a new facility or attachment to your aviation area there. You want to just tell about that? Because that kind of goes along with what you were saying in terms of the vibe that you guys have.
Right. Yes. I'm glad you brought that up. So we've been in a kind of a constant state of growth and construction for many years, but we're excited to get some of these projects done here recently. We just, at our headquarters location specifically, like I said, in the Kansas City area in Olathe, we added a new massive well-being center and cafeteria. But the probably most exciting piece that's relevant to our aviation teams is that we just added a brand new facility, our Aviation Business Center, that is just a beautiful new facility that our aviation teams are getting to move into. And so for those interns that are joining us this summer, they're going to be some of the first to get to experience that, and really just all the additional resources that'll provide our teams. And we just did, over the last couple of years, expanded our manufacturing facility too. And so many exciting, physical projects and expansions being done here too.
Yeah. Raina, I've had a relationship with the FAA since high school when I first started flying. And the FAA over the years, my main engagement with it primarily has been in reference to flying in aviation. But the FAA, as it relates to what it does for aviation, is a lot more expansive than I think even sometimes pilots realize. So here's your opportunity to brag about the FAA for a minute.
Well, thank you. So one of the things that I love about where I work is that the FAA's mission is to provide the safest, most efficient aerospace system in the world. And as an employee here, I'm super proud that I'm a part of that. On a single day, there's over, I think it's 45,000 flights a day and 2.9 million, passengers. And the fact that we work at an agency that keeps the skies safe, it's an innovative agency, and it's a very diverse and inclusive place to work. So I like that. I feel like the job that I do, the people that I work with, that we're all part of, really touching the public, and that we have an impact on keeping people safe.
Yeah. Well, look, guys, we're about out of time, but I'd like to thank all of you for your participation in this and really sharing some really fantastic programs for our viewers, the students, the parents, the counselors, the teachers, et cetera, to really hear about and be able to find out more. I'm going to close it out by going around and letting you each tell your website address or contact information for people that want to follow up after this program. Raina, I'll start with you.
Thanks, Vince. And I did put our link to our MSI page in the chat, but to locate our jobs, it's faa.gov/jobs. And again, you can kind of scroll down to student programs. You can search by gateways, you can search by MSI, you can search by students. And our link to our live sessions is in the chat.
Got you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Oh, absolutely. It's a pleasure. And I'm sorry, let me go to Jessica.
Sure. So our career site where students can find out more information is careers.garmin.com. There's a students page there, or you can get there directly, just careers.garmin.com/students. And it talks through our internship programs, apprenticeships, other programs and opportunities there, and links directly to all of those different jobs that are currently posted. And again, would highly encourage, if you see Garmin at your career fair or at your university, definitely come see us. That's a great way to get started.
Absolutely. Michele?
Yeah, so our website is at txtav.com/careers. And if you put in keyword 2023, that will bring up our high school internship, our college internship, as well as our entry-level professional roles. And our externship is also out there as well. So again, appreciate the opportunity to share Textron Aviation today.
Absolutely. Michele, Jessica, Raina, and Ben, thank you all for participating. Ben, wishing you the best of luck at the beginning of your career there at the FAA. And thank you again for providing all the great information, everybody. My name is Vince Mickens, and I'm with Private Air Media. And I thank everybody for your viewing and watching today. Next week's show is going to be an interesting one. It's going to be about aerial photography, a broadcast photographer, another photographer that does air to air, and then one that does aerial photography from helicopters. So they'll be on to talk about that as a career area. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. Again, we look forward to seeing you next week on All Things Aviation and Aerospace. Everybody take care and have a good one.